Have you ever walked into a room full of people and felt a sudden dizzying panic because none of the faces made sense? What if your best friend smiled at you, your partner waved, or even your own child ran up to you and you couldn't recognize them at all? Imagine that your brain suddenly betrayed you, turning every familiar face into a blur and leaving you in a constant state of social confusion. This isn't science fiction. For some people, this is reality. This mysterious and disorienting condition is called prosopagnosia, or more commonly, face blindness. Unlike memory loss, vision problems, or simple forgetfulness, prosopagnosia specifically affects your brain's ability to recognize faces, even the ones you've known your entire life. People with this condition might recognize voices, clothing, or mannerisms, but when it comes to faces, their brain cannot connect the dots. Prosopagnosia is more common than you might think. Researchers estimate that about 2 to 2.5% of the population have some form of this condition, meaning millions of people worldwide navigate life without the ability to recognize faces. And yet, for most, it goes unnoticed because they develop strategies to mask it. Imagine a normal day. You step into a bustling coffee shop. You know someone you've met is there smiling at you. But as your eyes scan their face, nothing registers. It's not blurry, it's not invisible. It's completely unrecognizable. Panic bubbles up. Did you forget their face? Are they angry? Are they even someone you know? Now imagine this happening every day. Meeting your coworkers, greeting family members, or even recognizing your partner at home becomes a guessing game. Social events, which are supposed to be comforting and joyful, turn into anxiety-fueled challenges. Some people with prosopagnosia even struggle with their own reflection. Standing in front of a mirror, brushing their teeth, looking at the face they know is theirs, and yet it can feel like someone else's. Imagine the eerie disconnect between your mind and your own body. For some, it's subtle. For others, it's life-altering. Even in photographs, familiar faces may seem strangely foreign. Birthdays, weddings, and social media interactions become puzzles because the brain cannot process faces in a conventional way. You might smile at a picture of your spouse and feel nothing. This confusion can lead to embarrassment, stress, and social isolation. You might rely on contextual clues, a haircut, a jacket, the way someone walks, just to survive socially. It's exhausting, constant, and invisible to the people around you, making it one of the most isolating neurological conditions imaginable. So, why does this happen? The culprit lies deep within the brain, in a region called the fusiform gyrus, located in the temporal lobe. This area acts as a specialized processor for faces, rapidly analyzing features, expressions, and patterns to instantly recognize individuals. It's essentially the brain's internal facial recognition software. In prosopagnosia, the fusiform gyrus is damaged, underdeveloped, or wired differently. The eyes may see every detail, eyes, nose, mouth, contours, but the brain cannot assemble them into a coherent, familiar face. For those affected, faces are a collection of features rather than a complete recognizable identity. There are two main types of prosopagnosia. 1. Acquired prosopagnosia. This occurs after brain injury, stroke, or disease. Someone may live a completely normal life and then suddenly lose the ability to recognize loved ones. 2. Developmental prosopagnosia, present from birth, often unnoticed until childhood or adolescence. People may develop coping strategies so early that they don't realize their perception is unusual until comparing experiences with others. Interestingly, prosopagnosia does not impair the recognition of objects or places. You can still identify cars, chairs, and trees, but the human face, something we rely on for social interaction, is scrambled. This reveals just how specialized and complex our brain's facial recognition system is. While prosopagnosia isn't physically dangerous, it can cause profound emotional and psychological strain. Social anxiety, fear of embarrassment, and feelings of isolation are common. Relationships may suffer, not because of a lack of care, but because the person simply cannot recognize faces. This is one of the most misunderstood aspects of the condition. Some with prosopagnosia develop compensatory strategies. They focus on clothing, hairstyle, body posture, or voice. Every social encounter becomes a careful mental calculation. Some even memorize patterns of movement or speech, turning every interaction into a detective game. It's mentally exhausting but a necessary survival skill. Recent research also suggests that prosopagnosia is not a uniform experience. Some may recognize emotions on a face without recognizing the person. Others can perceive familiarity, but cannot name the individual. The variations are fascinating, and they reveal just how intricate the human brain truly is. Let's clear some myths. Prosopagnosia is not memory loss. People can remember names, events, and objects perfectly. Faces are the anomaly. It is not a vision problem. Glasses or staring harder won't help. The eyes work fine. The problem is in the brain's interpretation. People with prosopagnosia are not socially cold. Many are deeply sensitive, aware of their struggles, and often hyper-vigilant about social cues. They want to connect, but their brains create a barrier. It's not extremely rare. Developmental prosopagnosia may affect up to 2 to 2.5% of people, millions worldwide. Most have learned to mask it. Understanding these myths is essential. Without awareness, people misinterpret behaviors. Friendships may be strained, and those affected may internalize guilt or shame. Prosopagnosia is an invisible condition, silently shaping lives every day. The neurologist Oliver Sacks brought prosopagnosia into the public eye with his book, The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat. One of his most famous patients, Dr. P, was a distinguished musician and professor. He could read, write, and navigate the world perfectly, but he could not recognize the faces of his students or colleagues. Dr. P would greet strangers as old friends and ignore familiar people entirely. Socially, this created confusion, anxiety, and embarrassment. It wasn't a lack of care or attention. It was his brain literally misfiring when it came to faces. Another case involved Jane, who developed acquired prosopagnosia after a car accident. One day she saw her husband shopping but failed to recognize him. She mistook her children for strangers. The experience was terrifying, emotionally shattering, and socially disorienting. Jane learned to rely on cues like hairstyles, clothing, and voice to rebuild connections. Scientific studies using fMRI scans have shown that in prosopagnosia, the fusiform gyrus shows reduced activity during face recognition tasks. Some researchers are studying how the brain compensates, uncovering alternate pathways that allow partial recognition through context, movement, or emotional cues. The variety of experiences, from mild difficulty recognizing acquaintances to profound inability to recognize anyone, including oneself, highlights how complex and fragile the facial recognition system really is. Prosopagnosia forces us to confront a chilling reality. The human brain, which feels so reliable and intuitive, can play tricks on us in ways we never imagined. Something as simple as recognizing a loved one, something we take for granted, is actually a complex miracle of brain wiring. Next time you see a familiar face, consider the millions who cannot. Imagine walking through life unable to recognize people you love, relying on hairstyles, clothing, or voices just to survive socially. The human mind is remarkable, sometimes terrifying, and always mysterious. And the most unsettling thought? Prosopagnosia is just the tip of the iceberg. Your brain contains countless quirks, biases, and hidden processes that silently shape your reality. Many you'll never notice, until one day, it betrays you. So, when you smile at someone's face today, remember, your brain is doing far more than you realize, and sometimes it refuses to cooperate entirely.